basic spell that requires no exotic ingredients or astrological charts. This spell is meant to attract more friends and enhance your sexual attraction. If you're looking for more than friends, if you have a particular individual in mind, plan to focus on him or her during this ritual as a way to draw that person to you to strengthen the bond that already exists between the two of you. Thoroughly clean your bathroom. We're not talking about a psychic cleansing here. Do a true cleaning with cleanser and antibacterial products. Cover your mirrors with white or pink towels or sheets. Then draw a bath and add a handful of sea salts and other salts to the water while saying, negativity is washed away. I am renewed as of today. Many heads will turn my way. The ones I choose will wish to stay. If you don't have a bathtub, tie the bath salt up in a washcloth while saying the above words and use it in the shower. Okay, light 3 white votive candles or place 3 votive candles in the bathtub. Relax and focus on your body. As you anticipate entering the water, think and feel how sensual it is and how beautiful you are. Focus on what you like about yourself. If you're casting this spell for a certain person, begin focusing on him or her now. Turn off the lights and turn on your favorite music if possible. Choose music that's in line with your desired end result. If you're looking for wild romance or hot love, pick something that makes you feel reckless and sexy. If you desire a soulmate and someone who makes you feel safe, choose music that makes you feel peaceful and calm. For general attraction, you may want a happy, mellow song. Enter the bath and relax. Make sure every part of your body is immersed in the water at least once. Shampoo and condition your hair, shave if appropriate. Cleansing is an important part of this ritual. When you're finished, repeat the words of the incantation you spoke before you entered the bath. This time, add the following line to close the spell. I am blessed. I am loving. I am loved. And I love myself. I am loved. Okay? Follow your intuition and add any other elements that make you feel right to you. These could be like things like incense, bath oils made with herbal extracts or essential oils, your favorite perfume, cologne, or a cup of herbal tea or bath towels purchased specifically for this ritual. Okay, number 2, cast a lost love spell. If you had a love but lost it through personal difficulties or certain circumstances or outside interference, you can use this spell to try to reunite with your lost love. So, purchase 6 candles. You'll need 1 candle in each of the following colors: red, green, yellow, blue. You also need 2 pink. Place the candles at the appropriate points. Place the red candle in the southern corner of the space, green in the northern, yellow in the eastern, blue in the western. Light all 6 candles. Hold the 2 pink candles in your hand and face the red candle. Then chant the following until you feel satisfied. Beautiful goddess, powerful God, hear my prayer. Lords of fire, burn my desire times 3 if it is meant to be. Bring so and so back to me. Okay? Whoever that may be. Okay. Now let the candles burn down. It's best not to blow out candles used in a spell. Allow them to burn down on their own. Okay? If you blow them out, that will ruin this spell. You don't want to do that. Okay, so cast a soulmate love spell. This spell is meant to draw to you a partner who's suited for you at this time in your life. Before you cast this spell, be sure you're ready for this level of commitment. You shouldn't undertake this if you're simply curious about the one who's meant for you. You must be prepared to take responsibility for any results or consequences. You'll need to do a little preparation before beginning this spell. Get some special paper, whatever that means to you. Real parchment paper. I guess like pink. Pink or red or yellow if you want it to be a happy love life or friendship. You'll also need ritual writing instrument. Again, you decide if it's a fountain pen, quill pen, favorite ballpoint, marker. It shouldn't be something you use daily to jot down at a grocery list. Finally, pick up moon incense and charcoal in a small heart-shaped box, or a box decorated with hearts will work. So don't forget to buy a sheet of decorative paper, okay? Pick the perfect time. Ideally, this spell should be cast after dark. If you can do it during the waxing moon, all the better. A new moon is also ideal time for casting a love spell since it represents new beginnings. You will have the power of the moon working for you, so you can be a little flexible with your time without diminished results. Reinforce your aura through meditation or cleansing. Using a ritual pen and paper, write down words of power that will call the most perfect partner to you at this time. Do not include specific names. Avoid thinking of a particular person. You may or may not have even met your soulmate yet. So leave everything open to possibilities, okay? If you can't quite come up with what feels like the right words, use the following. If there be a perfect match, this work tonight will surely catch the perfect one who's meant to be, shall find his or her way home to me. In perfect love and perfect trust, I send this out, but not from lust. This spell will guide us to reunite. Free will remains with us tonight. Okay, blessed be. When you're finished, read over what you wrote. Make sure you've said everything you wanted to say and nothing's been left out. Then spend some time meditating on your goal while you light your ritual fire or the charcoal. Okay. Continue your meditation until you feel that everything is right, your will is focused, and your sense of certainty is secure. When the fire has become coals or the charcoal or is glowing, read what you've written aloud 3 times. As you read, when you come to the end of each repetition, sprinkle about a tablespoon of the moon incense on the fire. If you have never used moon incense with a ritual fire, you should practice a few times. Flames will leap up along the dust trail of this incense powder, so you must be extremely careful. There will be sparks of incense outside of this trail of flame as well, also dangerous. Toss in the incense all at once. Don't trail the dust or sprinkle it. Do not wear gauzy or loose clothing or sleeves that trail. Be careful. Fold the paper and place it in your heart box. This is the spell box. Put in a safe place with positive energy. Now forget about it. Let nature, fate, and the spirits do their work to bring your soulmate to you. Now, cast your own love spell, okay? Number 1, set your intention. Are you hoping to get someone special to notice you? Draw a mysterious stranger into your life. Dispel negativity from a wounded relationship. Spice up a lackluster love life. Make your interactions with the universe at large more loving. This is the most important part of manifestation. So get a very clear picture in your mind of what you would like to accomplish. Okay. Think very carefully about the potential drawbacks of your intention. If, for example, you intend to attract your ideal mate, think about whether or not you're at a place in your life where you can enter into such a relationship. If you like to work your magic on someone you don't know that well, brace yourself for the possibility that they won't be as interested or attractive in real life as they seem from afar. Remember the rule of three. According to Wickham Reed, all good that a person does to another returns threefold in this life. Harm is also returned threefold. Encourage love by sending it out freely. Stay away from intentions that involve manipulating or dominating. Some ways of controlling another person. Spells that are meant to harm or control someone else is considered black magic. And those kinds of intentions may leave you open to receiving the same in return. For example, instead of manifesting a nurturing, mutually supportive, and satisfying relationship, you could draw yourself someone who's wildly possessive and extremely jealous. Okay? Gather the appropriate materials, exactly what you choose and what combination should be based on the kind of love you want to attract. So start by emphasizing colors. Red, for example, is the color most associated with passion and lust. Pink is also a heart color, but is considered to be more nurturing, while white speaks of innocence, and that would be appropriate for a platonic relationship. Green's association is with nature and to promote vitality. Choose candles, papers, flowers, rose petals, or other objects associated with your needs. Integrate herbs into the spell according to herb lore. Balm and catnip can be used to attract love and can be used to dispel negativity and promote love and happiness. Lavender is perhaps the best herb for attracting men. If your intention is more sexual in nature, try using vervain, which was used by the Druids to promote love, lust, and sexual fulfillment, or caraway, which promotes lust and fidelity, or cinnamon and fennel to promote vigor and libido. Use symbolic items. Do a little reading about the symbolism attached to common items. You're likely to find multiple interpretations for the same object. So go with your gut and choose what's meaningful for you. Use a mirror for healthy self-image, a piece of silk for sensuality, flowers for romance, lingerie for libido, or anything else you might have a special significance for you. Okay. Okay, so if you're directing your spell at a specific person, you happen to have an item taken from them, whether it be hair, clothing, a letter, something you borrowed, be sure to include it in your spell work. And also be aware of adding items with negative associations like knives, needles, ropes, or other aggressive objects. They might put an undesirable spin on your ritual. Number 3, don't forget to cleanse your body. Take a ritual bath using flowers, herbs, essential oils. Infuse the water with jasmine, rose, or any of the herbs. And possible bathe by candlelight. When you're done, dress in clean clothes. If you've chosen a new outfit for your ritual, put that on. Okay, so next, choose your place. Cast your spell somewhere you won't be disturbed. It would be wonderful if you could choose a romantic location such as a beach or forest. However, your number one priority should be privacy and the ability to concentrate. So that means staying indoors in a clean, cozy room. That's fine. Cast a circle. Spread sea salt with or without rosemary added in a circle around the space where you want to work for protection. If necessary, smudge the area by burning sage to clean away negativity. Number 6, light candles and concentrate. So focus your intention and visualize the scenario you'd like to experience in life. Make it as real as possible by imagining it with all your senses. If you feel comfortable doing so, chant your intention aloud, otherwise repeat it in your head. Write it down on paper, burn it, allow it to go out into the universe. Make a symbolic offering. Suitable offerings include flowers, an apple, wine, or anything else that has personal significance. Do not disturb your candles or blow them out prematurely. Allow them to burn down completely, then gather the wax and either place it in a satchel beneath your pillow or bury it in the garden to let it grow, preferably somewhere the dog won't dig it up. Make a rhythm spell if desired. This can make your ritual more potent. You may even want to include the name of a remnant god or goddess in the spell. If that fits with your personal philosophy, don't stress about being a poet. Rhyming is nice if you can pull it off, but what's important is the sincerity and good intention of words. Number 7, repeat for effect. The more you concentrate your intention, the more powerful a signal you will receive. Perform this ritual every day, week, full moon, whatever other length of time feels appropriate, and be grateful for the advice of your success. Next thing is be open to possibility. The results of your manifestation might be different or even better than what you imagined for yourself. Don't become so focused on one narrow vision of love that you let a glorious opportunity pass you by. If you want to manifest something, focus on a goal. You can write it and give it a title. Use clear, concise, and positive wording. Write the date you want it by. Use present tense because it will happen depending on your mind, time, and frame. Okay, so when doing a spell, know that candles aren't exactly necessary. You know, you can use candles, but they're not necessary. Most spells wear off after a certain time, and this is because love spells disrupt the natural flow of energy and bend it to your will. At a certain point, the energy flow will restore itself and the love spell will have worn off. Okay. Okay, so carve magical symbols or your name into the candle. That will give it extra power. Perform the ritual at a full moon if you can for extra power. Singing, dancing, that can make it more powerful too. Okay? And that was how to cast a love spell. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Okay, welcome to episode 28 of our prison series. What are the best things about prison? So this person said on Valentine's Day in 2022, they was diagnosed, I guess, with breast cancer and not expected to live 5 years. Then they said they had medical blah, 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 blah. I'm skimming through it. Okay, so at 2 a.m. in the morning, she was like, she shackled and handcuffed 2 other women and led to the bus that takes 50 of them to the courthouse. At the courthouse, we're put in a huge, dirty concrete room with one open toilet. The girls called it a dungeon. The cuffs come off, but the shackles stay on. We're up all night, some sitting, some pacing despite the shackles, even some trying to sleep on the cold concrete. It's a miserable night. 50 women talking, praying, waiting for the dawn. They're shivering. At 7 a.m. when the guards start yelling names, we are frozen, stiff, and exhausted. They're going to court to face really hard decisions, and they're worn out before they start. And she's like, she's worn out too, but she's not going to court. and she's going to have her breast cut off. But no one calls her name. She said she waited all day. She's cold. She's scared. And one-sided conversations with God. Okay, so where is she going with this? Okay, so a long time later, she's like, she wakes up in the jail. Her first thought is, oh God, you aren't done with me yet. 5 days of hospital vacation, a real bed, pillows, and 3 meals a day. She liked that part. Imagine how grim life is when you think hospital food is fabulous. Finally, it's back to jail, she said. The girls are waiting. For 5 days, no one has touched me but the surgeons with their knives and the nurses with their needles. At the jail, the girls break the rules and hug me because I've lost 28 lymph nodes. The surgeon has ordered a pillow because I'm at high risk of lymphedema and I need a pillow to protect my arm. Order denied. No pillows allowed in jail. We all feel helpless and they leave me alone. A few hours later, they come back with their own order. Close your eyes, Sue Ellen, and hold out your hand. When I do, I feel something soft. She must have got a pillow. I look to find the most beautiful pillow I've ever seen. The women contributed their precious supplies of Kotex. Okay? Okay, so they gave it a designer look. At the darkest time in her life, drug addicts, prostitutes, and murderers looked after her and she will never forget them. All because she got sick. Isn't that interesting? Oh, so they made her a pillow out of pads. Look at the prisoners looking out for people. The most beautiful pillow I've ever had, completely against the rules. I hid it under my mock every day for 2 months. Somehow it survived. That was 14 years ago. Like the pillow, somehow I survived. That's what she said. Okay, so let's see what else they have to say. I'm skimming through. Okay, so another person said the best things is the mental health services. Prisons may provide access to mental health support, including therapy, counseling, which can be crucial for those dealing with issues like addiction and trauma. Rehabilitation programs. Many prisoners offer educational and work training programs that help inmates acquire new skills, which can aid in their reintegration into society upon release. Okay, so another thing they're saying is good is the routine and the structure. The structured environment of a prison can provide stability for individuals who may have struggled with chaos in their lives prior to incarceration. A time for reflection. Incarceration can offer individuals the opportunity to reflect on their past actions and make plans for a more positive future. The next thing good about it is access to health care. In some cases, prisons provide better access to health care services than inmates might have had on the outside, addressing physical and mental health issues. The next good thing about prison is opportunity for change. For some, prison serves as a turning point, motivating them to change their lifestyle to make better choices. The next good thing is support networks. Some inmates find support among fellow inmates or through programs that foster community and connection, which can be beneficial for personal growth. Okay, so while these aspects can be positive, it's important to recognize that overall prison experience can still be challenging and traumatic for many individuals. The effectiveness of these benefits depend on Pacific prison system and resources available within. Okay, so the next person said they're not so sure what the best thing about prison is, but they certainly know the worst. The worst part about prison is the time spent in jail beforehand. And for all of you yuppies, there is a difference between jail and prison. Jail is run by the county, and it's where you await the outcome of your case. Prison is run by the state, and it's where you serve the remainder of your sentence. Now, let me repeat that, people. For all of you yuppies, there is a difference between jail and prison. Jail is run by the county, and that's where you await the outcome of your case. Prison is run by the state, and it's where you serve the remainder of your sentence. Jail is where your buddy Dave spent that month after failing to pay alimony, where your cop friend Paul had to wait for 60 days after beating his wife. You remember Paul, don't you? He's the one who used his connections to get that expensive lawyer and got off because the detectives failed to photograph her bruises. I found myself in jail on an aggravated DUI and intention to distribute charge stemming from being caught with over an ounce of DEA Schedule 1 narcotics. And for all of you doodly-do rights, there are 5 classes of scheduled drugs. One is the worst, and I'm not talking about marijuana. For some reason is still on Schedule 1 list despite being legalized for recreational use in many states. I'm talking about the first one on the list, a big boy drug. It's best enjoyed intravenously, whatever that means. So anyways, I was picking up a 2-week personal supply of products because I just cashed a few checks I got for Christmas, and I thought I could make 2 weeks worth of drugs last 2 weeks. One of the very few mistakes I've made in life. Well, anyways, of course, I had to sample the product before returning home. And then he said he had to make sure the quality was good, and sure, he got a little bit more than his significant other was waiting, sweating. And then let's see what else he said. Quality was up to par. Thank you, homie. Hook up in the Mexican mafia. So I started to drive back. His vision began to fade as a bright light overtook his vision. However, it was not a meteor or comet, but rather the onset of oxygen deprivation. Okay? Time escapes him for the next few hours or seconds. A millennium passes each time I close his eyes. He says he sees a loved ones, the future, and memories. Okay, so let's get to the point, person. Okay. I don't really get what he's saying there, so let's see what else we find. Okay, so I guess he gets woken up by the cops asking him where are the drugs. And the cops said they know he has drugs in the car. And he responded, huh? Before he nodded off again. Okay. Let's see what else they say. I really don't understand his story the way he wrote this. We might just, let's completely skip him. Because that's just too much. He wrote so much. Jesus Christ. Okay, we're skimming through. He wrote so much. I don't see why. Okay, so this guy said, years ago he was arrested in Texas for distributing free copies of a novel, which had written in front of a movie theater without permission from the management. He mistakenly thought that Texas, like California, regarded public shopping as places where free speech prevailed. He was held for 40 days because he lives in Australia, and they seriously thought he would flee to Australia if they let him out. Anyways, his best experience was just observing the ingenuity of some of the other inmates. For 1 hour a day, we would be allowed into a cement area where we could see just a silver of sky through a gap between the roof and the 20-foot walls. This recreational area has 2 basketball hoops, but there were no basketballs. So people would smuggle a couple of towels into the area, then tie them in a big knot and use them as a basketball. We couldn't bounce it, of course, but there were special rules, a little like netball in Australia. The towels were also handy in another way. Each day they were replaced, but we could always get away with taking a few threads out of each towel and save them up to create a little knitted cross. The white threads could be tinted from Kool-Aid, purchased from the commissary, and some of them knew how to make a kind three-dimensional cross. I never learned how. Okay, so let's see. Get to the point. He was nicknamed Old School because of his age, but he's proud that he eventually did more push-ups without stopping than he ever done in his youth. Okay. I'm skimming through. He wrote a lot. He said his cell was the only one in prison not to have been disciplined for any breaches during 40 days that he was there. He learned this from the guards who took their TV and coffee pot simply to be mean, because he felt that we needed to be reminded of what might happen if we did break any of the long list of rules that they had. Oh, and I came to appreciate ramen noodles a lot more once I was introduced to them as prison popcorn, which prisoners would snack on without water when the coffee pot was taken away. I would love to meet some of those guys today, although I realistically expect that a lot of them would have continued to do things that got them thrown back into prison. That's funny. Okay, just a moment. And now would be a good moment to like, share, and subscribe. And comment below if you've tried prison popcorn. That's an interesting, I guess they make it out of ramen noodles. We'll have to get more into that to figure out how do you make prison popcorn. Sounds yummy, right? Okay. To find good things in prison, you might have to look pretty hard. If you can be optimistic in the real world, then you might be able to find some bright spots in prison. I made some new friends in prison. I met some truly good men. These are men that you would be proud to have as a neighbor and would feel secure at night knowing they were right next door. I also met some of the most despicable excuses for humanity ever seen. But we're focused on the good today. I taught GED class for a while. It was pretty intimidating to get in front of a bunch of angry inmates and lecture about blah, blah, blah. Eventually, I got to be comfortable talking to this hostile crowd and lost my fear of public speaking. Last year, I applied for a job. The first interview was a interview that he normally would have been terrified, but thanks to his GED teaching experience, he aced it. Okay, let's see what else he has to say. I guess people get more creative in learning how to do things in prison, he said. Okay, let's see what else. Oh, he said he hopes you like to read because that's all you'll get to do. Plenty of it. After all, he said he found out he had become a more flexible person. Heck, he's eaten out of a trash can. And it must have been some, maybe, burger. Imagine if a cop throws a burger in the trash can and you've been eating crap every day and you see a little bit of a cheeseburger left over. You're like, that looks like it might be good. You might eat out of the trash for the first time. Interesting. Okay, let's see. Is there something else good? Okay, so this person said, this is what they like about prison. They have a roof over their head. You'll never be lonely ever again or want for company. Great if you like reading, as there's always a prison library. Okay? Free board, no rent, no mortgage. Heck, you can have a room for life if you want it. Although room is at the premium at the moment. Well, it has been for quite a while, and always they'll have a bed for you. Okay, so I like what he said. This is what he likes about prison. A roof over your head. They have a prison library for people who like reading. You'll never be lonely ever again. You'll always have company, free board, no rent, no mortgage. They always have a bed for you. And 3 meals a day. I mean, I guess he's saying you can't beat that. They may not be great. It varies from prison to prison, but it's one of those things that cons say in England to their other fellow cons when discussing the merits of certain establishments that are dotted around the country. It'll be like, what, blah, 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 blah. You're never going to starve, and if you ain't feeling the food that day, cool, make tuna. And I've made some of the best curry I've had in prison. No bills, self-explanatory. Also, no stress of bills. You can lie in till you want. If blah, blah, blah. Okay, if he comes back that afternoon, you can tell him then why you haven't gone. I guess they have some type of work in prison that he's talking about. I didn't really understand how he wrote that. Let's see what else they said. Okay, so this guy said free gym membership. All year round gym membership can't be bad. All that getting fit you've been meaning to do, well, you've got no excuse now with a gym on your doorstep and half you pals trying to drag your butt down there. Okay? Access to unlimited supplies. We won't get into what he's talking about there. Skimming through. You can finally give up smoking after all those years. Plus, if you're a non-smoker already, I bet you won't be glad to be away from people that do that. You worry less, he said. Everything is taken care of. Well, with all that, all the above, there's only one thing missing, I think. Oh. He said, if you're gay, then you're going to have a field day in there. If you're straight, not so much, but we'll have to make do with, you know, XX videos. But there will be a fantastic supply of DVDs if you like that type of stuff, he said. Oh, pages missing and stuck together. If you're prison gay, you'll be accommodated somewhere along the lines and you'll find what you're looking for. Perhaps you want to read a XXX type of thing. Whatever he's talking about, he's confusing me. Let's see. I'm skimming through. This person said the best things about prison come far and few between because, speaking honestly, prison is crap, but if it digs deep enough into my memory, I can come up with a very few things that were any good at all. One of the things that was better than I expected was the other people that she was incarcerated with. Those people are just like you and I. They care about each other and they have feelings. They pretty much put their socks on the same way as anybody else does. Before going to prison, she was afraid of even the thought of going to such a place. She wondered, how was I going to deal with a bunch of bad people, just knowing that I wasn't a bad person myself, but it wasn't like that at all. They're only bad people if you have it coming. If you don't get caught up in the chaos, everything goes smooth. It's like people tend to think it will be. Another good thing about it is the fact that if you want, you can get an education. If you don't have your diploma or GED, you have to go to school. While you may not like it, it's in your best interest. You really can't make it in the real world with or without the other, and it's free. If you have your diploma or GED, you can learn a trade or get certified in a profession that you can use once you are released. So therefore, you aren't wasting your time sitting in prison. You are bettering yourself. Those are the few things that were good. I'm glad you didn't ask what was the worst thing about prison, because everything else was the worst. And there's so many things that there's worth mentioning. Okay, so this person said, let me start by saying I have never done time up the road, but I have done my time in county. This person said, I have been in jail in 8 counties each time with another handful of felonies. At least one violation of probation. And then this person said, let's see. They hate the thought of metal beds, the color of orange, bologna, and ramen. They said, they hate that you have no control over who you sleep next to, what you eat, what goes on in the outside world, and you even lose the ability to use the restroom at your own will. Even though there are so many things that this person said they don't like about jail, they can truly say they're grateful for it. Being locked up forced them to be sober. It forced them to realize what havoc they had caused, and it helped them to realize just how close they was to being 6 feet under. They have fallen again and again each time they've stepped up out of those doors, but that is because they didn't want their life bad enough at that moment. They said they don't think there is an award-winning event in prison that they could label the best thing, but for them, the best thing was having time for themselves, having time to reflect on what got them in the orange outfit, having the ability to do nothing but read all day. I guess he makes it sound like roses. You just kick back, relax, pop out your book, talk about your book. Okay, so this person said there are many kinds of people in the world, and prison is perceived by different people differently. This person said they had good times inside. A lot of us did, but some guys hated it. The difference is whether you're ready to square up and be a soldier or whether you're going to sit there like a mama's boy crying on the floor. I don't know who, so I can only speak from my own point of view. A view shared by thousands and thousands of proper convicts throughout the USA. Also, there are prisons in other countries, which I know nothing. I can only read as American facilities. So this person said, education. You're going to learn something whether you're in an official program or not. There's a lot of stuff to learn about humanity and social behavior. It's a crash course in human sociology. The same person said, also formal programming is available, although it is a hit or miss in some states. Don't put a big emphasis on this. Other states just can't afford to. From, I guess, basic truck driving, he said. Physical fitness programs, landscaping, maintenance, tree maintenance. Some type of other thing that I don't understand. Okay, so the next thing is he said relaxation. Some guys are anxious and full of fear. For them, it's hard to relax in prison. For the rest of us, the experience is like an extended vacation right in the middle of your life. For most guys, it's the first vacation they've ever been on. The first period during which they didn't have to hustle every day to make $1 and stay ahead in a game. A huge weight is lifted off when you realize there's nothing you can do to affect circumstances on the outside, and you only have to focus on your basic needs day to day. It is true freedom. Next person said, work experience. Unless you're just an absolute sad sack, you're going to do some kind of work in prison. In the federal system, this is very organized. Every man is assigned a work function, no matter how simple. In county jails, you can be a trustee. In Texas State Prison, there is agriculture work. Either way, you're going to come out knowing how to do something you didn't know when you went in. Next thing that he said was good is opportunity. The point is for criminals only, not people who just did something stupid and got caught for it. If you use your time efficiently in prison, you can make a lot of contacts. These can be useful later when you get out. You can meet people in there who can make your life a lot easier once you're released. That is, if you expect to go back into the business you were in before you got there, this happened in his case. So then he said health. Facts are facts. And most guys go into prison addicted to drugs, and this is sad but true. In prison, it's hard to get drugs. You have to be really connected. You have to have a lot of money. Most likely, you're not going to get a lot of drugs when you're in prison. Therefore, you're going to be off the drugs possibly for the first time in your life. The positive effects on a person's health from this period of sobriety cannot be underestimated. Also, given the state of health care in the United States, this is the first exposure most inmates have to formal medicine at all. That's really pathetic, but at least in prison, you will see a doctor regularly, a dentist, an ophthalmologist, etc. Next thing is society. Chances are you need to reorganize your external society. This may involve getting rid of your girlfriend or ex-wife, getting rid of your friends, and getting out of the business you were in, and also may involve switching cities. Going to prison is going to upset all of your variables in this line. Therefore, your society will be reorganized for you by the experiences of going in. After you get out, you will be on parole or probation, and those guys will keep an eye on you so that you can at least start off trying to do the right thing. Here is a quote from the details concerning this question. I know that being in a prison is the worst experience one can have. This is absolutely not true. The worst experience you can have is watching your 8-year-old child die from leukemia and knowing there's nothing you can do about it. So try to keep things in perspective. The next person said, there honestly are no best things about prison, only less best things. Visits are nice to get, but it's expensive for family. It's often quite a trip, and it's only a few hours. It's bad, but it's better than not getting visits. To me, currently living in the aftermath of a 10-year sentence, they said they can attest to this fact. Prisons need to pay their inmate workers much better. Not because they deserve a bunch of money, though. It would reduce many forms of crime in prison, increase some others like, like drug use, I'd guess, but that happens regardless. I don't know what he's talking about there. However, the biggest problem is this. We are not prepared. These people, they don't prepare these people for release in a couple of ways. So it says if they were able to get paid more and maybe even require a certain amount to be set aside in savings for release only, then it would be easier for inmates to get out and not immediately look to commit more crimes. They can pay for rent and food a while until they can find work, hopefully. Know what happens now? They get $200 gate money, a number that has not been fixed since the 1973. I wager today 200 is more like 26 back in 73. That 200 from 1973 about, I don't know what he means here. I guess he's just saying money is not worth the same as it used to be. He said if inmates were forced to engage in an economic system in prison where they have to budget and be frugal, they will be better able to get out even after long terms like mine and be economically wise, better able to care for themselves and their family without breaking the law. European prisons, some have this same ideal, but they put it into practice. There are countries whose prisons are set up like apartment complexes where inmates work their way to being able to work outside and make real money, buy things for themselves, save money for release, and practice pitching in being a real part of the gross national product, participate in the economy. So that's the worst. That prison does nothing to prepare people for their eventual release. That's all he had to say instead of all those details. He said it's depressing, trust me. It's really hard to find good work with a record. Okay, so he's saying when you get out. But now would be a good time to like the video, to subscribe. If you've been to prison, let us know in the comments below. Comment below. Let us know what you like about prison or what you didn't like. Or if you're going to be going to prison soon, go ahead, share your life experience. This person said, being in prison or jail is not a picnic. You're literally stripped of any creature comforts and given the most basic of needs. You no longer have privacy or rights. You're a criminal and you're treated as such. Still, it might be surprising to learn that while most people avoid jail like a plague, some find it to be better than life on the outside. You don't have access to family or friends, and if you don't have the right connections in jail, this means you don't have access to drugs. It's not an ideal place to detox, but some jails have programs that will medicate inmates so they are more comfortable during the process. This person said you get 3 meals a day, and for some people, this is a step up from not eating at all. Plus, they are all cooked for you, served to you, and you don't have to worry about the cleanup. While it might be a hassle to get there, some prisons have a really good medical team and can provide care to inmates they otherwise would not receive on the outside. You can enroll in programs, classes. They even offer to help people get their GED or teach a trade you can use on the outside. It's warm. You have shelter. Your clothes are clean and provided. You have running water and can take a hot shower. It might be hard to imagine jail being a positive experience, but if you're living on the street in the dead of winter, jail probably sounds like a paradise. I guess you'll get happy if the cops say, oh, we're taking you in, and you've been outside. You're looking like, get me there faster. When do I get to eat? When do I get to take my hot shower? 3 meals a day? Oh, I get to meet new people? I guess. Okay, let's see what they said. Okay, so this person said before going to prison, they read a book called Zen and the Art of Happiness, which mentioned how to see everything as an opportunity, which a lot of us never do. I tried this and it worked, even the traumatic events. This person said they went to prison for 18 months. And OWI, somewhat enthusiastic. In turn, I was able to appreciate the unique architect from the inside of a 100-year-old fortress not many people get to see. He said he got his bench up over 250 and came back with biceps, triceps twice the size he even had in college. He wrote 1,500 pages of a memoir I never would have taken time to write in my own spare time to this day. I maintain humility, not humiliation. Know the difference. That allows me to observe people and how pretentious, entitled, and self-righteous they all really are. If they only knew. I ate my meals with guys doing life, and if you think about it, are still there as I'm typing this. That was 2016. I worked in a machine shop and got to make license plates and public library furniture. Then he said, I was not made to, I was allowed to. I saw human instinct behavior at its ultimate worst. I saw things you can't even read about in books. I learned to count the smallest of my blessings. I learned to enjoy every sandwich and more. And again, the book he read was called Zen, the Art of Happiness. And he said the book mentions how to see everything as an opportunity. And even in the most traumatic events, that's what the book is pretty much about. I liked some of these people's perspective. This person said, look for the silver lining in the thundercloud of incarceration. I would have to say some of the people you meet. I have met some very intelligent, resourceful people. I have met some amazing artists. I have met some people I now claim as friends. I've also learned who my real friends were prior to my incarceration. That in itself was educational. And speaking of education, my time incarcerated was very educational. I learned to see things clear without the filters of society and the propaganda we are fed from birth. Most interesting, I have also self-taught myself about the laws of our nation's courts and social history. It is amazing how a mundane and dry subject like law can become exciting and interesting when it's impacting your existence. The rest pretty much sucked, but I do not recommend it for a retirement program. The service was terrible. Okay. This person said a friend of a friend ended up in prison for trying to poison his wife with some blah, blah, blah. Okay, it was about child custody. Okay, let's see. They didn't really get to what was good about prison, so we're skipping them. This person said the best thing in prison was the day he was released after serving his sentence. The worst thing was the day he started his sentence in prison. That's the only best thing. Now, the worst thing about prison, having to live by a set of rules made many inmates over the years such force racism, having to back up your buddy no matter what the circumstances or risks you have to take with your freedom and even lives in some cases. Just the whole caveman mentality. You seem to have to live each day by that, is unless you want to get punked and pimped out. And the way you're looked up on and treated by most staff because you're a convict now. What none of the staff ever makes bad mistakes, not being able to trust anyone completely. Just one best thing and long list of worst things. Just being told when to sleep, eat, and crap and piss is one of the worst. So again, this person said the best thing about prison was the day they were released, and the worst thing was the day that they served their first day. Their first sentence. Okay. Okay, so this person said the best thing in her day for prison was when her husband would come visit and during their kiss. You only get two, a first and a last. He would, she said he would slip her certain drugs from his mouth to hers. Those particular days on the inside were actually rather nice. Okay, cool lady. What are the pros and cons of being in prison? Okay, so this question was closer to something like, why should we not do crimes if our prisons are so cushy? Some dumb crap like that. And I said, yeah, I don't know what you've heard about prison life, but anyone who thinks three free meals a day and television and place to sleep is something for someone to live for and look forward to, I would say you probably need to be re-educated. The cons are obvious. Finding legit work will be exceedingly difficult. Not many people willing to give guys like us a second chance despite what you've heard. I'm still a loner because I'm unable to trust any male to be real loyal friend, and I'm also not very good at relationships in general. Something wrong with my empathy and trust buttons for real. Relationships are few and far between me. Not sure if that's a good thing or bad thing. This person said, I haven't had one male friend in over 7 years. And he has bad dreams. He suffers from depression. And he said, let's see what else he says. It looks like he's getting off topic. Okay, so we might read a few more. What is the pros and cons of being in jail? You need to use the toilet in front of others. It's extremely embarrassing. You can't use the toilet in peace because you need to flush the toilet every time you you let one out or drop, That's what this person said. Otherwise, something bad will happen to you. The food is near inedible. Usually the showers are only separated by a wall in between, so you get zero privacy. Everyone can see you. If you're really unlucky, your shower area is just one big open room. The uniform makes you feel worthless, and it also itches like crazy. Chipped your tooth? Are your gums bleeding? Dentistry in prison is garbage. Good luck with that. If you have, let's see what else he said. If you have longer hair as a man, your hair is shaven, buzz cut, and you end up looking like a soldier. Okay. Wow. This person said for them the best thing about prison was after 8 hours, the gate I went to opens and lets him go home. I guess he must work there. Okay, so this person said only good thing that came out of being in prison was I learned to value the small things in life, like waking up, fixing breakfast, or simply going outside and coming home without having to strip, bend over, and spread eagles. You quickly remember how much you miss the small things. Wow, right? And then this person said, you will learn who your friends are. The ones who stick by your side while you are in are your real friends. Those are the take advantage of your situation will show themselves. Prison deprives the prisoner of many of life's pleasures, conveniences, and freedoms. You don't really know what prison is until you've been deprived of it. You don't know what is valuable until you've lost it. In the end, assuming you return to a free life, you will look at life in a new perspective with newfound values. You probably never appreciated being able to turn off your own light before you went in. When you get out, you may see things as I do. I think about my good fortune now almost every time I throw the switch. Everybody should do sometime. It should be a requirement. Wait, he had the funniest one. Him talking about being able to turn your light switch on and off. That was really funny. This person said not much of positives, except maybe being thankful for all the things you took for granted on the outside when you get out. This person said, what are the pros and cons of being in prison? I have to respectfully disagree with the answers that they say there aren't any pros to being in prison. I got good stuff out of my time in the joint. Don't get me wrong. It was miserable, and given the choice, so this person said, I left prison a very different person than I entered. And yes, some of those changes were, well, not good. But others absolutely were. I walked in soft and round and walked out hard and sharp. He must have worked out, both in body and mind. I read all the books I always wanted to. I went through phases of French and Russian literature, English, 19th century Americans up into the Southern Gothic era of O'Connell and Faulkner, poetry from Shakespeare to Pumpkin to Dylan Thomas, for God's sake, which would never have happened had I not had several hours a day to get rid of. I was doing 1,000 push-ups a day. I learned how to read people and body language and sense tension and danger in the air. I learned how to fight and how to defend myself. I learned how to cut metal. I learned the heck out of patience. But of all these things, the biggest pro I got out of prison was surprisingly perspective. If you can not only survive but thrive after you have lost hope living in the void, that prison becomes your years and years spent there. It makes the rest of life kind of like a snap. Keep in mind that not everyone comes out of this. In fact, most do not parole with anything even close to what I'm saying. That's just how it worked for me. As with everything in life, the facts are what they are. But it is up to the individual as to how he deals with it. My situation was bad, and sure, I got depressed a lot. But at the same time, I'd be living with a guy who was my age but had been doing a life sentence since he was 16 just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. So if having any pity ever crosses my mind, I didn't have to look far to see someone else who was way worse off than I. And I try to carry that sense with me now. Whatever mess I find myself in, I try and just step back for a moment and realize this is not a big deal. Nobody is trying to harm me. Nobody is beating me senseless and dragging me to the hole. Life is good. Life is short. Don't sweat the small stuff. It's a lesson that I don't think I would have ever learned had I not gone through the ringer. And of course, the price tag was hefty. I missed 8 funerals while I was inside. One of them, my older brother's. 8 funerals? That's a lot. I still wake up screaming some nights, bathed in sweats from nightmares that I can't remember. I can get extreme anxiety around crowds of loud people, and the list of cons is long, and I feel that many of the others covered them pretty well, so I won't add to that. I just want to honestly assess and answer the question because it's hard for me to admit that this place, which I hate from the deepest depths of my soul, could have given me anything but pain and hatred. 2 things I gave in spade that I carry with me still. The bottom line is this: I would not have willingly gone through it. But the truth is, the strongest steel must be first forged in the crucible. Okay, so this person said, you get healthy. The food is crappy and generally unappetizing, but mandated by the law to be nutritionally complete. And there being little junk food outside of the commissary. An inmate eats healthier than the average American. If you have a pot belly going in, you are apt to lose it before leaving. You don't see many fat inmates. I have heard it said that the diet adds several years to your natural lifespan, but the stress may well take that from you. Like you want to live a long life in prison. So they're saying that the food there is nutritional, so nutritional that you live healthier than the average American. That's crazy. But there are also a great number of older inmates there who have been there for decades who look very healthy at their age. But that might be because most sickly ones are moved to other facilities with more medical services. And older inmates make better model inmates, so they rather not have to replace you. Okay. And the food is crappy. Most inmates have to be there a while to get themselves to eat it. It looks good on the plate. Several entrees usually, but all taste pretty much the same, for they use no seasoning. And most is processed food from cans and grates, often over and undercooked, served on assembly lines by inmates who are pushed to get it on the trays as fast as possible. So often sloshed over the edge of another entree, spinach juice and everything. They do have a balance of vegetables, but only if you eat everything on the tray. After some time, most inmates do, for it to become the expected, usual, and accepted as food. After some time, most inmates do, for it to become the expected, usual, and accepted as food. Never heard anyone get excited over the meal, though. Basically, supervisors for the food being served. This person said that he was a lineman for a couple of kitchens. Basically, supervisor for food being served. So I saw it cooked and where it came from and how the trays looked going out the window. This person said prison is bad and that the humans are not meant to put their life on hold for years, as they have no XXX, no career, no family life. It results in very bad things and is not conducive to gaining any useful skills or fitting in. They have programs, but these are to satisfy the letter of the law. Usually the employees do it badly or not at all. The thing they care about is billing. Billing the taxpayer. The good side is you make good friends. And life is much simpler. It is like being a 12-year-old. Do what you are told and nothing more. Those are it. The good is that it breaks time to reconsider. The bad is it is the ultimate waster of life. Okay. Next person say your basic needs. Food, clothing, shelter, medicine are supplied. You don't have any bills to pay. You may have time to read or develop an artistic talent. You may get your education paid for. If you need partners, well, you have plenty of those. Mind you, it's a big price to pay. A big price to pay. This person said, if you want to approach it from let's make lemonade out of lemons approach, there can be some good things. I know that I got mental health treatment I needed. I got a chance to reassess what was important in life. I got to restore my relationship with God, and I got to learn how to deal with adversity. Prison can be a terrible place. I was extremely blessed in being locked up in a decent, medium security facility, and he said he had a great cellmate. This person, what was their favorite prison experience? Let's see. I don't see what the way they wrote. They didn't make it so easy. Yeah, that person, they're really bad at explaining. Okay, this person too. Okay, so the pros. This person said free food, you can shower, you have a bathroom 1 feet away from your bed, tons of people to talk to, your drug addiction, it will clean you up, you will learn lots of new stuff, free place to live if you're homeless, you are safer in jail than living on the street. Free health care, they got great doctors. I had a skin condition, and when I went to 4 doctors, they couldn't heal it. I went to jail. The doctor was able to tell me what's wrong. He gave me medicine. I was healed within 7 days. Con, lack of freedom. The food sucks. If you have a decent light on the street, you're going to hate jail. Okay? It's a crappy life. Jail can be a good thing for you, or maybe it'll be a wake-up call for you. This person said it depends on what prison you're in. If you are in a USP, which is a federal high security, you will be at times stressed out due to the politics, but you can work on your mental state and physical. The only two things I did like was the respect is a huge factor, and I love that also the rec became at the yard. If we wasn't locked down, I went in and at 190 pounds, and in 3 years I was 210, solid muscle without all these vitamins and other crap that's in the free world. But the respect is something huge at the mediums. There's still respect, but people clown and get their butts crushed. You have time to work on yourself. At the end of the day, whoever does it, it's because they don't want to. Okay. And I believe we are at the end of our video. So now is a good time to like, subscribe, share the video, comment below. Did you like this long prison episode video that I made just for you about the good things about prison? To, let you know to be grateful for your current life. If you're not happy, find something to get happy about. Because in prison, the highlights is working out, reading, finding religion, establishing your mental space, minding your own business. Don't gamble. Don't mess with other officers. Be courteous. Be helpful. Don't write a check your body can't cash. Oh, whatever that means. Okay, yeah, so basically, the point of this video is to let you know that you are living a really good life on the outside and to never take it for granted. And that prison isn't for everyone. But for some of you out there, you said you were thinking of prison as a retirement plan. So that's why I'm doing the prison series, to educate you all on, do you want to stick as prison as a retirement? Do you want to change your mind and maybe figure out another way to create income for yourself? And if you've changed your mind, go ahead and comment below. But like I said, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you next time. Okay, welcome to episode 29 of our prison series. And today we're going to talk about prison popcorn. It's called Jailhouse Popcorn from Prison Raymond. Okay, come here, Mr. Fox. Jailhouse Popcorn from Prison Raymond adds intrigue to movie night by replacing traditional treats with surprisingly delicious movie snack made of Raymond. But the truly amazing part is the story behind the recipe and the terrifying off-screen drama that occurred during one particular prison movie night. The following story and recipe are excerpt from Prison Raymond. Movie night in prison was usually a big deal. We didn't get to watch any new or R-rated movies, but they did bring a big old projector and showed movies on a huge screen in the chow hall. It kind of made it feel like you were actually at the movies. One movie night involved some famous people, but not actors. A vicious hit was carried out by members of the LA gang, the Crips. There was a guy in the prison who was a member of the rival group, the Notorious Bloods. You could tell this was a planned hit by the precise mechanics and the execution. And now would be a good time to like the video, subscribe, and share my video. Don't forget to check out all the other prison series episodes 1 through 20, and go ahead and check out our newest and our latest episodes too. Now let's get back to it. The projector was set up and the guys were in a pretty good mood, but just as the lights went out, the movie began. The soundtrack kicked in and got loud. That was the cue. Right next to me, there was a sudden movement, and I saw the guy I knew to be a Crip. But his hand over his blood's mouth was as he simultaneously sliced his neck with one smooth, quick motion before the lights came on. The assassin was out of the chow hall, nowhere to be seen. That night, nothing that happened on the screen matched the drama around us. Jailhouse popcorn. Here's the ingredients. 1 pack of chili flavored ramen. Note, chili flavored ramen is best for this recipe. Other flavors just don't do it. So Jailhouse popcorn ingredients. 1 pack of chili ramen flavor. Note, chili ramen flavor is the best for this recipe. Other flavors, they just don't do it. Okay, so the instructions. Crush the ramen in the wrapper. So if you got ramen noodles, you just bang it up, crush it up. Open the wrapper, one end only, and take out the seasoning packet. Take that out. Sprinkle the seasoning into the crushed ramen. Close the bag and shake it until the seasoning is distributed. Okay, so this is what you do. The instructions to make Jailhouse popcorn. Instructions. Crush the ramen in the wrapper. Then open the wrapper on one end only and take out the seasoning pack. Sprinkle the seasoning onto the crushed ramen. Close the bag and shake it until the seasoning has distributed throughout all of the ramen. And that pretty much is how you make Jailhouse popcorn. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Alright, welcome to episode 18, and I hope you guys are enjoying the weekend. It's the start of it. Now, we are back to talking about, our prison subjects, and we are back to the love topic. So, the article we're reading today, it's about love again. And it's titled, Terrible Crimes That Couldn't Stop These Ladies from Loving Men Behind Bars, okay? So some women find love online, while others focus on those who have been in a lineup. So it says, Bloomberg reporter Christy Smith made headlines in December when she revealed she had quit her job and divorced her husband after falling in love. Okay, so I guess she fell in love with a prisoner. Okay, so she insisted that her view was just misunderstood, I guess the prison guy. This came after he had been dubbed the most hated man in America for price gouging a drug for people with HIV. Bizarre though, the story was Smith, I believe that's her last name. Yeah, Christy, I don't know why they won't just call her Christy, has plenty of company. For every incarcerated man, it seems there's a woman interested in being his pen pal or more. Okay? Christy Smith, a former journalist who helped break the story of a white-collar criminal, Martin Shkreli, Wright became romantically involved with him while he served a federal prison sentence for fraud. Okay, I'm about to show her. She looks fairly normal, too. She's, normal looking lady. And, he's the genius. I'm trying to say, I guess, he thought he was the genius. He didn't know he would get caught. It's a trend explored in the book Love Lockdown, Dating, XXX, and Marriage in America's Prisons. Okay. Greenwood decided to start researching prison marriages after her own extensive correspondence with jail white-collar criminal Samuel Israel III, currently serving a 22-year sentence in Butner, North Carolina federal prison for mail fraud and investment advisor fraud. Oh no. Some of this, it does make you wonder, how do these people get into committing these crimes, you know, or like what? How does it start? What do you get away with one thing, and then it makes you think, oh, I could do that again and get away with it, and then you keep getting comfortable enough. You get so comfortable that you keep on, and then you eventually leave footprints. Okay, so this guy, I guess his name is Israel. It said he had faked his death by staging a suicidal plunge off the Bear Mountain Bridge in upstate New York in June 2008. He turned himself in to the feds 3 weeks later, and Greenwood reached out to him whilst researching her first book, Playing Dead, about people who fake their own deaths or disappearances. They have stayed in touch for 7 years, corresponding frequently, although they have never met. Quite interesting, right, people? I think we know people like this, where you're online friends, and for whatever reason y'all stay in touch. I don't know what that's about, why people want to do that. Because it's I don't want to do it, you know, so I don't know why people want to do it. Okay. Throughout the half dozen years I've known Sam, he has gone from my subject to my stalker to my friend, she writes, nodding that the correspondence helped her understand the laser-like attention an inmate with little to do can lavish on a lady. For her latest book, Greenwood followed the lives of 5 couples who met while one of them was incarcerated. Okay. I don't know what that means. I'm just trying to say, like, whatever they wrote was very confusing what came next. So, to prison wives who have long histories with their men, MWI. Okay? Women are seen as pathetic losers, or worse yet, prison groupies. Let's just label them a prison groupie. But what she found were relationships that were at times romantic, messy, complicated, and sometimes heartbreaking. In other words, not too unlike those in the real world. One couple includes Joe, an ex-Army medic who had worked as a prison guard at a Kansas City jail, and Benny Reed, who was serving a 10-year sentence in the maximum security Oregon State Penitentiary for the attempted murder of his then girlfriend. It shows Joe and Benny Reed, who met on a prison pen pal site on their wedding day, and they are kissing. I'm going to show the picture. That's her prison book. You see that? How romantic. The pair met on a prison pen pal site. Joe knew the stigma of associating with a felon, but it didn't deter her. In recovery herself from an addiction to pain pills, Joe credited Benny with making me the best possible version of myself. I think these women tend to be very nurturing. They have a sense of wanting to be cared for, wanting to be caring for someone else, and men in prison, for obvious reasons, are quite needy. The pair even got married at the prison. He saved up from his $1.81 an hour prison call center job to buy her a ring off Etsy. How sweet. But the relationship ended abruptly when Benny found other companions online. Are you kidding me? He still left her while in prison. That's crazy. It says, yeah, that's crazy. Oh my gosh. Wow. I'll reread that part for you. The pair had even got engaged at the prison. He saved up from his $1.81 an hour prison call center job to buy her a ring off Etsy. But the relationship, it ended abruptly when Benny found other companions online. Wow. Even in prison, they cheat and they're greedy. Just why do women fall for imprisoned men? According to Dr. Fred Berlin, director of the Johns Hopkins XXX and Gender Clinic, there tends to be this trait of intense mothering in prison wives, writes Greenwood. I think these women tend to be very nurturing. They have a sense of wanting to be caring for someone else, and men in prison, for obvious reasons, are quite needy. But not every prison wife goes into a pen pal relationship looking for love. Sheila Rule, a longtime foreign correspondent for New York Times, met Joe Robinson while doing volunteer work for a prison ministry. She was corresponding with more than a dozen inmates when a compelling letter came from Robinson, an East New York native serving 25 years for murder. Now, I have to look at this close up. I guess she was really lonely too. Okay. I'm looking at them. Oh, how are they in bed together? They must she must like spent that one weekend day with him. This is funny. He has on regular clothes. Let me show the picture. Yep. She met him during her volunteer. Okay, so look. That lady I showed you, Sheila, a longtime foreign correspondent for New York Times, met Joe Robinson, the guy that you saw there, while doing volunteer work for a prison ministry. She was corresponding with more than a dozen inmates when a compelling letter came from Robinson, an East New York native serving 25 years for murder. As a pen pal, he was looking for a young lady, and Rule, who had been married twice, was in her 50s, 20 years his senior. She let him down and flat out told him that she couldn't be his companion but could be his friend. For a year, the two exchanged letters that were deeply vulnerable but very flirtatious. In 2003, he convinced her to visit him in person, where the relationship switched from friendship to romance. And they wed in 2005. That's 2 years later, after he convinced her to visit him. They've now been married 15 years, 12 of which Robinson was in prison. She says the marriage is happy and familiar, like an old shoe. That's so funny. Like, it's like a shoe. Still, Rue initially told few people about the relationship. When she decided to tell a friend she thought was progressive, the friend asked how she could be with someone charged with murder. I'm not marrying Joe's past, she told the friend. I'm marrying the person he's become. Do you like her excuse? So that's the end of terrible crimes. How it couldn't stop these ladies from marrying men behind bars. I hope you guys liked the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know, are you enjoying the prison series? Is it very lovey-dovey? Is it giving you the romance that you seek in your life? And if you are enjoying it, let me know in the comments below. All right. Welcome to episode 17. Today we'll be talking about prison letters and why women love men in prison. Okay, it's been a while, but we are back. So this episode is about prison letters. The interest came when I received a letter from the Oregon Department of Corrections. It was from an inmate, and he was addressing someone he seemingly had a connection with in the outside world. The handwriting was perfect. The words flowed very well, and he clearly was trying to reach out to a woman who most likely lived in my home before me. Though the letter never reached the person it was intended for, it did spark significant questions, such as, why do prisoners attract women so well? Does real prison love exist, or is it all a scam? And how do these prisoners learn to write so well in the first place? The myth: women must be twisted to fall in love with prisoners. Look, this phobia, I've never heard of it. Hybristophilia. When it comes to having a strong attraction to social deviants, criminals, and prisoners, hybristophilia comes to mind. This is a paraphilia where people are aroused by people who have committed outrageous acts such as cheating and crimes, including the R word and people who are murderers. The thing that makes this so interesting is that it is different for everyone. Some are more passive about it while others are aggressive. Okay, so it says passive hybristophilia. This is when someone is drawn to criminals but they do not act on it or try to assist them in any way. They may show passion through being an advocate for the prisoners or simply enjoy movies such as OITNB and Prison Break on a deeper level. Whatever that means. I guess that just means you like watching shows that are very criminal. So I guess I can give an example of someone drawn to a criminal. Do you remember that movie called Out of Sight with George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez? Remember Jennifer Lopez in the movie? She was a cop. And George Clooney, he was the criminal. And remember, she got kidnapped by George Clooney. They created a romantic movie out of this situation. And J-Lo, she, had no man in her love life. Very good looking woman, and then here is this criminal that kidnaps you, and he's very handsome, okay? And you're just like, I'm finally getting some type of cool excitement, and you're like, look at this criminal. Like, why would I tell on this criminal? I'd never get this level of fascination. That's how J-Lo felt, So, yeah, like at the end of the movie, they were trying to catch him. And the other cops asked her, did you see him? And she kind of like froze, like, because she's wondering, do I tell them? Because she is at work and she is in uniform. She's a cop. And she's like, no. Like, she's not going to rat on him because she fell for the criminal. And before that, her and George Clooney, remember, he's a criminal and he's on the run. And she's a cop. So, he had her number, so... Yeah, so what happens is the criminal contacts you. Look, the criminal contacts you. You're at home and you're sleeping. The criminal contacts you, and then you wake up because it's the criminal. And then when the criminal is contacting you, that's when you're like, you're all ears because you don't know when you'll ever talk to this criminal again because he's calling like private. And you're enjoying this because you're like, where are you? I haven't heard from you in a while. I'm surprised to hear from you. That's what happened to her. He randomly calls, but she can't call him back because I understand this clearly, especially when you don't want to get caught in some type of way where I'm like, you know what? I want to be friends with that person, but they know this and that, so that could be bad, where you just you have to think about certain things where you're like, it might not be the best to that's kind of what the criminal was feeling because he knows at the end of the day she's a cop and it's her job to bust people like him and put them behind bars. So anyway, they had their secret meetup in the movie. And their secret meetup, where they went out to dinner. They both was just, it was a night to just enjoy one another, talk to each other, clarified, yes, so why haven't I heard from you? And then he's like, well, blah, 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 blah. And then they had their one night of passion. It was an unforgettable, I guess, moment. That was her one night of fun. And then that was pretty much the end of it. And then she didn't hear from him anymore. Like, it's like, it was a really, really good movie. Probably one of her best movies. Okay, so look, back to aggressive. The next one's called aggressive hybristophilia. This is where trouble can arise. These are men and women who proactively help the criminal they are attracted to. This means they could lure victims in, cover for criminals, bury bodies, and other severe acts. Bonnie and Clyde are the perfect example of this type. I'm trying to think, do I know of one like this? Where men and women help the criminal they're attracted to. This means they could lure victims in, cover for criminals, bury. Okay, I'm trying to think. That one I can't think of. It's not a fast one that just comes to me. Okay, so why do so many prisoners / criminals in relationships? The answer is quite simple. It is a mixture of hybristophilia, the desire for excitement from their mundane lives, the long distance passion, and the fantasy of it all makes people drawn to that lifestyle. In fact, there are over 40 different websites that cater to prisoner dating, such as meetaninmate.com. And then potential consequences. Though it would be nice to have a happy ending every time, there are significant consequences from dating a known criminal. For example, a book called Dream Lovers: Women Who Marry Men Behind Bars. Jacqueline Wilcox Bailey talks about a real-life incident. Two sisters walked out of their long-term, boring relationships to get with prisoners. When those men were released, one of the sisters was murdered, and the other was beaten and tortured, which sent her supposedly posed lover back to jail. I think they mean prison. With this as a possibility, always be aware of the dangers you could be subjecting yourself. If you decide to follow that journey, with that being a solid case, does that mean that all prison love is fake and they are nothing but predators? Then they said myth. There is no such thing as true love in prisoners. Okay, so they said there are some genuine and sincere relationships, but there are also tons of scams as well. How do you know the difference? If you are reading a letter from someone behind bars and they ask for money in any way, it is likely a scam. Do not fall for it. They could either be reaching out to women and men for financial gain, attention with the media, or to gain supporters, just like Ted Bundy, Richard Ramirez, and Scott Peterson did. I know what all of them look like. That's how infamous they are. For the record, serial killers such as those noted above are less often associated with scams and writing letters. You may think that they are great at manipulating, but that is not the case with them. They get away so well with murders and crimes because they are bold, always act like they have nothing to lose, and never overthink what they are doing. With an IQ of below average, more love letters come from non-serial killers who are much smarter and think things through better. Okay, overall, use your best judgment. These people will not always con you. They may be truly into letter writing for human connection. That's kind of funny because like they crave the connection, so they're writing the letter because, you know, there are many people in jail who do not have family or friends to reach out to. So they turn to pen paling to feel involved, valued, heard, and feel like they matter. Though it may not always be about love, it can still be about companionship and support and worth volunteering to help people such as them feel cared about. Bonus, how to craft a prison letter. One thing I noted the most about the letter I have how well written it is. There are no errors. The penmanship was nearly perfected and the message was very well contrasted. So how did someone in prison learn to write so well? One word, practice. Those who write love letters will use trial and error in their writing. For example, they would keep tabs on the responses they would get from their loved ones. When they said certain things, they would then work on perfecting in those areas to get even more positive responses. In addition, they could have utilized other inmates for assistance as well. More perspective is a catalyst for fostering new ideals and learning how to write a moving love letter or scamming someone successfully. If you want to learn to write a great letter, start with practicing. Use your feedback as a guide and never be afraid to ask for help so you can become a pro. And the final thought, falling in love with criminals and prisoners is hyperbristophilia, though having this characteristic is a passive sense is fine. Seek help if you feel like you will act on those passions. There are limited professionals that can assist, but it is worth finding a reputable person before you do anything drastic that could land you in jail yourself. Oh no. Remember, human connection and writing to prisoners is a great way to improve their quality of life. If you are talking to someone who has no one else on their side, keep being a hero to them. But always know the signs and be mindful if they are trying to scam you or not. The last thing you want to do is fall in love with someone behind bars only to find out they were using you for personal gain. At the last word from us, we don't know everything, but we do have an opinion on everything. Oh boy. That was quite interesting, right? Oh boy. That's what I have to say about that. I hope that, now you know why women love men in prison. I hope this has gotten through to you guys, so you get that deep understanding here and you understand that, women can fall in love pretty much with anything, okay? So please like the video, please subscribe, comment below if you're dating a prisoner or if you want to date a prisoner. And if you are enjoying these episodes, let me know. Okay, welcome back. We are on prison episode number 8. So today we'll be talking about how to prepare to go to prison if you know you're going. So, prison is all the rage in Hollywood. We've all seen Oz, the Shawshank Redemption. Orange is the New Black, and Con Air. Their creators got some of the facts right, but they don't tell you how to prepare for prison, do they? If you're going to prison, our goal is to help you in your preparation for incarceration journey. So that's what we want to talk about to help you out. And if you're interested in learning more about prison life and how to prepare, they said online they have a copy of a book. It's like a little pamphlet, Federal Prison Handbook. And if you guys really, really need it, go ahead and comment below. And while you're thinking about it, subscribe. And, I should be able to include some type of link below to hopefully help you. I hope I don't forget to put it down below. Or consider hiring Zukis Consulting Group to assist you in preparing for going to prison. Whether you will serve 6 months or 6 years, the tips discussed below will help you prepare for your time in prison. You can also book a free initial consultation to speak with a prison preparation coach today. For those with little experience with the criminal justice system, the notion of time behind bars can feel overwhelming. It can feel as though there is nowhere to turn, and any information you read online seems to contradict other information you've seen. We've included useful basic information below on preparing for prison to cut through all the misinformation. So they had created, it looks like a table of contents. So I'll read the table of contents. How to prepare for prison. Going to prison. Steps to successfully prepare for prison. Learn about federal prison facilities, minimum security prisons, federal prison camps, low security prisons, medium security prisons, high security prisons, United States Penitentiary, USPS, Administrative Security Prison. Research your Pacific Prison. Arrival and personal property. Money in prison. Communication in prison. Get in good physical shape. Get your affairs in order. Preparing your family for incarceration. Appointing a power of attorney. Designating your point of contact. Resolving your medical and dental issues. Creating a list of contact details. Authoritative information about going to prison. Life in federal prison. Stay out of prison politics. Keep yourself busy. Wow. Find purpose. Stay clean. Avoid discussing your charges. Learn the rules. Be polite and respectful. Have a good attitude. Don't struggle with how to prepare for going to prison. We're here to help. If only Diddy had this. Okay, so now let's get into how to prepare for prison. It's essential to prepare in advance if you have been convicted or pleaded guilty to a criminal offense and are waiting for sentencing. According to the United States Sentencing Commission, the average federal prison sentence imposed is approximately 147 months. That's a lot. Less than 20% of offenders serve a prison term below 5 years. This means no matter the nature of your offense, your confinement to federal prison will likely disrupt your normal life for a minimum of a couple of years. Essentially, adequate prison preparation eases the transition to your new life behind bars. It might not take away the hard realities that follow losing your freedom, but knowing what to expect and how to navigate your life inside the prison can be the difference between a smooth transition and a turbulent offset. Losing your freedom is hard enough, especially for your emotional and psychological well-being. Thus, managing any preventable hardships or mishaps can go a long way in promoting your mental health while serving your sentence. At Zeus Consulting Group, we help potential federal prisoners prepare for their incarceration by equipping them with information to navigate their life behind bars. Our criminal justice system largely fails to reform convicts. Hence, if you are keen on going through your sentence as smoothly and as quickly as possible and transitioning back to an active life afterward, we are here to assist you. If you get in touch with us immediately after your conviction, our team can offer expert coaching on making a favorable impression at sentencing to secure a more lenient judgment. In addition, we coach our clients on how to live a meaningful life during confinement by cultivating their abilities, keeping them out of trouble, and developing an excellent record. These are essential factors that can enhance your overall life in prison and improve your chances of serving a shorter sentence. Okay, now let's get to the part talking about going to prison, steps to successfully prepare for prison. At the Zuski's Consulting Group, they walk through the various steps you need to take adequately to prepare for a smoother transition in your life in prison. Generally, criminal conviction comes with potentially life-changing consequences, and the period before incarceration is the hardest for most people and their families. We understand you may be stressed and anxious about what lies ahead. For this reason, we are committed to providing you with essential coaching that you can implement immediately to get you ready for custody. Let us take a look at some of these preparing for incarceration tips. Learn about federal prison. Depending on the nature of your offense, the court might order you to self-surrender, or you may go into the custody of the U.S. Marshal Service. Whichever way, you need to arm yourself with knowledge on what to expect in the federal prison you report to. This means reading quality prison preparation books and speaking with a knowledgeable advisor who has ideally done substantial prison time in the system where you will be incarcerated and at the same security level. So if you know someone who has served as much time for you as the same charge that you have, that's the mentor you should be talking to and linking up with to learn more about what prison life might be like. Okay, so it says the Federal Prison Handbook, the definitive guide to surviving the Federal Bureau of Prison, is the best book for this. We tell it like it is and do not offer false promises to scare you into opening up your checkbooks. Take this step seriously. You must build an informational foundation to make good decisions in prison. Federal prison facilities. There are over 100 federal prisons across the nation, and they operate at 5 different security levels: minimum, low, medium, high, and administrative. The security levels are determined by features such as security barriers, presence of external patrols, detection devices, guard towers, type of inmate housing, cell or dormitory, staff to inmate ratio, internal security measures. Below is a rundown of the features of each of the security levels. Okay, so it says minimum security prisons, federal prison camps, dormitory housing, low staff to inmate ratio, limited or no perimeter fencing, work and program oriented, prisoners with less than 10 years remaining plus minimum violence history. Okay, so that was for minimum security prisons, which is federal prison camps. Okay, so low security prisons mostly is dormitory or cubicle housing, higher staff to inmate ratio compared to minimum security prisons, double fence perimeter, strong work and program offerings. Prisoners with less than 20 years is what low security consists of. Medium security prisons, mostly cell type housing, higher staff to inmate ratio compared to low security facilities, strengthened perimeters, wide variety of work programs, greater internal controls, all types of prisoners but with less than 30 years remaining on their sentencing. So the minimum is for, again, people who didn't commit the worst of the worst. And then low security, same thing, less than 20 years. Well, they're not the same thing, but And then medium means like you're going to be there a while, but you'll be there less than 30 years. Okay. High security. Oh, okay. Is United States Penitentiary, USPS, single and multiple occupant cell housing. Highest staff to inmate ratio, highly secure perimeters, close control of inmate movement. All types of prisoners, but sex offenders and informants are highly likely to be victimized. Administrative security prisons. Administrative security federal prisons have special missions. For example, pretrial offender detention, treatment of seriously or chronically ill offenders, confinement of escape-prone, violent, or extremely dangerous inmates. So that's administrative security prisons. So, all right. Okay, so administrative facilities include federal medical centers, federal detention centers, the federal transfer centers, and others. Please see our Administrative Security Federal Prisons page for more information about these institutions. Operations and privileges such as leisure time vary widely at each security level. At the Zuski Consulting Group, we can help you understand the implications of being held in any prison, regardless of the security level. But generally, through the Federal Bureau of Prisons, BOP, ultimately decides where to confine you. Your attorney may request your designation to a facility that best fits your needs. Okay, just a moment. I'm trying to figure out how do I'm going to this. Let's see. Know why I keep getting these numbers calling. Okay, back to where we were. Research your Pacific prison. If you are ordered to surrender, go to our federal prison profile section and locate the Pacific profile of your upcoming prison. Once there, you can read about the particular prison and life therein. You can also download the prison's admission and orientation handbook and commissary forms. These will provide an overview of opportunities available at the prison and protocols for education, recreation, housing, health, psychology services, and more. This is a valuable Prison Pacific information that can be very helpful in your journey in preparing for incarceration. Okay, so arrival and personal property. Whichever prison facility you are designated to, prison staff from medical case management and psychology services interview and screen you upon arrival. Later, you join the admission and orientation program for formal orientation into the facility's procedures, programs, policies, and services. Moreover, BOP restricts the personal property you can take when entering the prison or retain during your stay. Criminal defendants who self-surrender to their institution may keep the following items: plain wedding band, plain earrings for females, legal documents, orthopedic or medical devices, approved religious items, prescription glasses. While you surrender in your civilian clothes, you will be given an option to throw the clothing away, donate it, or mail it home. The prison issues you clothing, bedding, and hygiene items upon arrival. In addition, you may purchase items such as shoes, recreational clothing, food items, personal care items, and others from the prison's commissary. Sounds like the military. Once you are in custody, there are Pacific guidelines regulating possession of any of these items. We at the Zuski Consulting Group can help you get ready for custody by explaining these processes and privileges. Money in prison. You can have money in federal prison, but the funds remain in your inmate trust fund account. These funds may be used for commissary purchases, telephone, email, and other authorized activities. Appoint someone you trust to act as a business or financial manager. Your spouse or attorney or close friend, you may want to give this person power of attorney and arrange for the bank to allow them to make withdrawals from your account. Arrange to have them send money monthly or quarterly if you can afford it. Ask for between $400 and $700 a month. This will allow you to spend $360 at the commissary each month. Use a maximum of 300 minutes of phone calls each month. Purchase MP3 player songs and use the BOP's inmate email system. This investment will make your prison time go by faster. It's worth the expenses if you and your family can afford it. So again, ask your family to send you about $400 to $700 a month, because the commissary, they allow you to spend $360 a month, and then they're just saying that use a maximum of 300 minutes, of phone calls each month, and then you should be able to use the inmate email system too. In addition, your family and friends can send you money through MoneyGram, Western Union, United States Postal Service. Please see our page on sending money to federal inmates to learn more. Note that your account number must be affixed to all such transactions. Funds sent through MoneyGram and Western Union are processed every day of the week, including holidays. Communication in prison. Communication with family and friends is essential during your time in prison. In addition to fostering your emotional well-being, maintaining ties increases the possibility of successful re-entry into the community. The Bureau of Prisons provides the following communication avenues for prisoners and their families and friends. Inmates and receiving parties have the option to pay for phone calls. The scaled-down email service allows federal inmates to email with approved contacts, but the inmate must pay for any time spent drafting or reading emails. Inmates may send and receive mail through the U.S. Postal Service. Prisoners may receive subscriptions directly from the publisher without prior approval, newspapers, magazines, and journals. Okay. Get in good physical shape. Exercise has immense health benefits, both physical and mental. It is normal to get depressed as you contemplate preparing for incarceration. However, exercise can help keep stress levels down and allow you to focus on what matters most, creating a positive transition to better your experience in prison. You will have plenty of time in prison to develop good fitness. However, starting now is beneficial as you equally need your energy levels at peak as you rush against time to get your affairs in order. Moreover, if you end up confined, especially in a higher security facility, looking physically fit may play to your advantage, though you should purpose to stay out of all conflicts at all costs. There probably isn't any pressuring need to learn how to fight if you are housed at a camp, minimum security, or low security federal prisons. But if you're headed to a higher security level, you may want to hire a personal trainer to become as fit as possible, even if that just means looking tough. So if you're at a higher security level, you might encounter more threats. That's what they want you to know. While we don't advocate employing violence, conflict avoidance is almost always the best answer in prison. It's not the worst idea to consider taking self-defense classes to learn how to protect yourself. This is essential piece of how to prepare for prison. Violence in prison is genuine concern, and people do get hurt. A fight is never a good idea, but you need to prepare in the event of everything going wrong and escalating into conflict. Get your affairs in order. Going to prison is the last thought on anyone's mind. Even when your case goes to trial, you always hope there's a chance of fighting the allegations and winning the case or earning a lenient sentence. That does not involve imprisonment. It is understandable if you are still in denial and hoping the case might turn out favorably. However, denial only works against you, as it may hinder you from taking advantage of the short time you have to get your affairs in order. Before losing your freedom, Even if there is a slight chance of getting a lenient sentence, preparing for prison is essential if things don't go as expected. Some of the matters you need to take care of include preparing your family for incarceration. Your family will be devastated by the idea of you being locked up and the potential dangers it might subject you to. It may take a while before they come to terms with the likelihood of living without you. However, you need to sit down with them and discuss life without you. If you are the primary provider, you may need to organize how bills will be paid in your absence. This may even mean working at downsizing the family's lifestyle if there are not enough funds to maintain the same lifestyle. If you live alone, you need to make arrangements for your property so that debts do not accrue in your absence. If you have young children, they may not understand the long-term implications of your absence at the moment, but it will soon affect them, so you need to plan the best way to help them cope. Consulting a psychologist is vital, as they can suggest ways to help both you and your family cope in the short and long term. Lastly, it would be best to inform your family that they can reach you either through email or written correspondence. They should also expect you to call them regularly or through video visits whenever possible. While preparing for incarceration is critical, maintaining family contact while you are away is equally as important. Okay, next is about appointing a power of attorney. Generally, a power of attorney grants another person the ability to control your affairs in your absence. This could be your spouse, parent, child, sibling, or trusted friend. If you appoint someone other than your spouse, you could grant the power to two people who should consult each other before making any decisions about your affairs. This may eliminate conflict and guarantee extra safeguards against misuse of the powers. As you do this, ensure you draft a financial plan on how the finances should be utilized while you are in prison. You may also want to create a rough budget of your financial needs in prison and coordinate how the money will be channeled to your commissary account. Designating your point of contact. Before surrendering to prison, ensure you identify a primary point of contact. This could be a family member or a close friend. We can work with this primary point of contact as questions or issues arise. Additionally, this person will be able to better advise your family and friends of your status, location, and information. Please note that prison staff seldomly release information to family members. For example, if your family calls your unit team seeking information about your status or healthcare matters, they will not release information. With this being said, we have our clients sign a release information authorization, thereby enabling prison staff to disclose information to our team members. Next is resolving your medical and dental issues. Medical and dental services are available in federal prisons. However, they may not match the standards of your current providers. Care is often substandard, slow, and usually not forthcoming. This is a crucial element in preparing for prison. You will do yourself a big favor by dealing with this now and not waiting until you are in prison. If you have pre-existing medical and dental issues, get an evaluation from your doctor before surrendering. Likewise, it can be a very good idea to update your glass prescriptions and resolve any dental matters before surrendering. It can also be helpful to obtain complete copy of your medical records from your doctor. If you take any prescription medications, ask your doctor to draft a letter explaining what the medications are, and what underlying conditions they treat. While you can submit these documents to your prison's health service upon arrival, our team can also use these in cases of prison staff not adequately treating medical conditions. In these cases, it is critical that we have underlying documentation, as this helps us motivate prison healthcare staff. Creating a list of contact information. Before going to prison, prepare a list with contact numbers, mailing addresses, email addresses for all the people you may need to contact during your confinement. This way, you will not get stranded whenever you want to contact a particular person. Additionally, try to fit this contact list on one double-sided page. Many receiving and discharge officers will allow self-surrendering inmates to retain this page. If not, we also recommend our clients provide us with a copy of their contact list. We overnight this contact list to our clients on the day of their arrival. Authoritative information about going to prison. In the past, people used to go to prison utterly oblivious of what lays ahead and would endure untold hardships before they adjusted to their new life. This is not the case today. There are dozens of books, guides, and other programs that help defendants prepare for their life behind bars. While we cannot attest to other firms, books, or products, our team regularly assists clients preparing for prison. Here are a few of our book offerings: Prison Education Guide, Federal Prison Handbook, Directory of Federal Prisons. While waiting for your sentencing or self-surrender date, ensure you gather as much information as possible to enlighten yourself. Most prison preparation resources are written or produced by ex-convicts who have served long sentences in federal prisons, or experts who have worked closely with the inmates and are familiar with the criminal justice system. Researching widely and reading available credit resources can be an eye-opener, enabling you to adjust to your new life quicker. Aside from reading prison preparation books and guides, you may also seek out prison consultants to answer your questions and provide insights on the ins and outs of prison. For instance, at Zeus Consulting Group, we help criminal defendants develop strategies to prepare for prison and successfully reintegrate into society. Our objective is to help you develop an informational foundation to make good decisions once in custody. Life in federal prison. Before commencing your federal prison sentence, you need to know how to prepare for federal prison with a survival guide and tricks. Assuming you have gathered as much information as possible about what your life in prison will be like, here are some tips to enhance your experience. Stay out of prison politics. You do not have the liberty to choose your neighbors in prison. You meet people from different backgrounds, some possessing extreme opposite personalities, ideologies, and outlooks on life. Despite the sharp differences, you may have to share the same facility for years. In ideal circumstances, people should embrace diversity, but not so in prison. Conflict of interest and prison politics are the order of the day. However, it helps by maintaining a low profile throughout your stay. Otherwise, if you indulge in politics and things turn ugly, it may compromise your chances of coming out unscathed. Keep yourself busy. Federal prisons require medically able inmates to work. As soon as you arrive, ensure you find a job that you will enjoy. If you don't obtain a job on your own, prison officials will assign you a work detail. We advise our clients against this approach since it often means working long hours in the kitchen. Some examples of the positions you may want to consider include plumber, inmate orderly, food service, warehouse, groundskeeper, painters, while some of these prison jobs require long hours. Others are no-show jobs where you sign your name on a sheet and leave. While federal prisoners are paid for their work, wages tend to be meager. For example, federal prisoners typically earn 12 cents and 40 cents per hour. These funds are deposited into your commissary account, which you use to buy personal items. I'll repeat that again. Oh, sit down, Mr. Fox. Sit down. Sit down, baby. Prisoners typically earn 12 cents and 14 cents per hour. Okay. Okay, that's crazy. So when in prison, find purpose. A period of incarceration equals a lot of available time on your hands, which can be positive or negative. It's your choice. Many positive activities in prison can help you find purpose in life, even help you improve your circumstances upon arriving. College correspondence courses, writing, exercising, and teaching in the prisoner's education department are just some examples of many activities you can become involved in, which will give you purpose. This purpose will help carry you through your sentencing. Okay. Pursuing a purpose during your time in prison can make your stay more meaningful and manageable. For example, you can learn a new trade, write a book, discover philosophy, find spirituality, or purchase other professions. Likewise, we help many of our clients further their education behind bars. Whether you are interested in college or career-based studies, our team can help. Okay. In addition to keeping yourself busy and avoiding falling into a depressive state, finding purpose behind bars may equip you with relevant skills for successful re-entry into the community upon your release. This is critical. If you work, you are prepared for a period of incarceration. So, yes, that's very critical. Thinking through potential activities is a critical step in figuring out how to prepare yourself for jail. How you find purpose is up to you. One of our clients, a doctor before his incarceration, spent his time helping those who need physical therapy. Find something that works for you. It is a good idea to put a plan in place so you can focus on the day of release from the time you enter. Avoid discussing your charges. When first entering prison, many inmates receive the prison 411. Other inmates want to know who you are, your criminal charges, your sentencing, and other relevant information. Whether someone tries to bully this information out of you or a friend in prison asks, do not fall into the temptation to disclose your case details. Many things can go wrong if you do so. For instance, a fellow prisoner could make a deal to serve less time in exchange for the information, especially if the details are incriminating. Also, the nature of your crime might cause you to be victimized, especially for sexual-related charges. Please contact us at the Zeus Consulting Group if you are concerned about these types of disclosures. We help clients charged with all manner of criminal offenses develop a strategy for addressing these sensitive matters. This is especially important for clients charged with sexual offenses or who have testified against others for a sentence reduction. Stay clean. However tempting the ideal of using drugs in prison may be, you should steer clear of them. This is a key area for in-prison conflict among fellow inmates. Likewise, inmates caught drinking alcohol or using drugs are often severely sanctioned. While this can be an appealing avoidance avenue, especially when struggling with depression, this is not the answer. Our team can help you develop better coping mechanisms. No matter how deep you descend, keep in mind that drugs are not the solution. If anything, they are likely to aggravate your mental condition. Always remember there are far better coping methods such as remaining physically active, finding purpose, keeping in touch with family and friends, if possible, and seeking professional counseling. Moreover, no matter how smart you are in concealing drugs, it is only a matter of time before the guards catch you. And when that happens, it may spoil your efforts of maintaining a clean record and dash any hopes you may have for an early release. Getting addicted also raises the chances of being indebted in other prisoners, bringing you into deep trouble and potentially making your life in prison intolerable. Learn the rules. Ignorance is no defense for prison rule violations. Even if you did not know they existed, breaking rules in prison can get you into serious trouble. Educate yourself as much as you can about the prison system, and particularly your upcoming prison facility. If possible, obtain a copy of the official rule book and read it thoroughly. And note, the team at the Zeus Consulting Group regularly defends clients in prison disciplinary hearings. Our team can research the underlying incident, draft a statement for you to issue to the disciplinary, and manage all internal appeals challenging a conviction. Then it says, be polite and respectful. Prison staff is often overworked and inmates tend to be depressed or otherwise dealing with personal issues. Since serving time in prison is often unpleasant, practicing active conflict resolution techniques is important. Tempers are likely to flare quickly, and you do not want to step on anyone's toes. As a general rule, being polite and respectful is the best way to survive in prison, while reducing headaches and other interpersonal conflicts. Even when a staff member is unreasonably demanding, avoid engaging in actions that might make them feel challenged. Being polite and respectful can go a long way to making your time more manageable. Next thing is to have the right attitude. The moment you enter prison, your life takes a turn. You might lose friends, family outside of prison. Even those you did not expect to abandon you may just do that. You are pretty much on your own inside prison. Other inmates may try to take advantage of you. Going to the guards for help is often a bad idea, and that can have serious repercussions. With such a gloomy situation, you need to polish up your attitude and prepare for incarceration. Having the right attitude can help you surmount the prison reality and build something positive out of the situation. The team at Zeus Consulting Group can help you prepare for the experience to come and plan for the unexpected. Prison time doesn't mean a death sentence, quite opposite. It says, if you lost your license because of a criminal conviction, they can help you launch a new career. Okay. So they're just saying basically, there's no reason you can't leave prison without a degree or a better prospect for the future. Don't struggle with how to prepare for prison. It says that use the Zeus Consulting Group and let them help you. Okay, because they're basically saying prison is never easy. They said they know what awaits you in prison and the tactics you can employ to have a smoother life behind bars. Going to jail or prison is never easy, but with directed effort, you can lead a productive life during this experience and after. Okay. So that is pretty much how you prepare